Hey guys, I'm Samantha and welcome to another reading vlog. And this is going to be another genre reads reading vlog. I put up a poll on my social medias and it seemed like the consensus was to do a thriller themed vlog, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So my first book that I'm about to start is Sue Grafton's V is for Vengeance. I haven't read any of the other books in the series, and there are like 20 plus series for I think there's a book for each letter of the alphabet except for like maybe the last two because Sue Grafton had passed away before she could complete the series. But I actually own this book, so I am wanting to read more from my personal library because I've been utilizing the public libraries a lot lately, which is good, but I also have quite a few books in my own personal library that I haven't read yet that I would like to get to, so I pulled out my copy of this, and depending on whether or not I enjoy it will determine if it gets to stay in my personal library. But I am new to Sue Grafton's books. I believe I don't think I've read any of her thrillers before, so I'm not sure what this is going to be about, so I'll just read what the synopsis is in the flap. It says, a woman with a murky past who kills herself, or was it murder? A spoiled kid awash in gambling debt who thinks he can beat the system. A lovely woman whose life is about to splinter into 1,000 fragments. A professional shoplifting ring working for the mob, racking up millions from stolen goods. A wandering husband, rich and ruthless. A dirty cop so entrenched on the force he is immune to exposure. A sinister gangster, conscienceless and brutal. A lonely widower mourning the death of his lover, desperate for answers which may be worse than the pain of his loss. A private detective, Kinsey Milhone, whose 38th birthday gift is a punch in the face that leaves her with 2 black eyes and a busted nose. And an elegant and powerful businessman whose dealings are definitely outside the law. The Magnus at the end of the web. V. Victim, Violence, Vengeance. So, yeah. It sounds pretty interesting. I've been getting more into thrillers lately, the last being The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. So I am pretty interested in how this book will go far. I still have a book from the previous readathon that I joined on the go, so my goal is to at least get 50 pages a day, and at minimum of this book until I finished my book that I have going previously before the other readathons that happen in this month of December start. So, but yeah, I'll check in with you guys once I have an update and kind of give you some thoughts of what I think of the book so far. Hey guys, I don't know how well I am in frame on here, but I just wanted to do a quick update. I made it to page 66 in V is for Vengeance. So far, it's not too bad. Like the first chapter we get, I guess, the start of the thriller mystery part with a character getting murdered. And then you switch to the actual detective part in the second chapter. And it's kind of slow going a little bit, not gonna lie. It took me a lot longer than I thought it would to get through the first 50 pages of the book. But it just switched to a different point of view with a different character in the chapter that I stopped on. It's chapter 5 is what I'm currently in. It switches to Nora, which I don't remember if the synopsis says who Nora is. Yeah, it doesn't say it. Just by the way that the synopsis is kind of making it seem like there are so many crimes going on in this book that so far we've been exposed to two, and then I have a feeling that we've been introduced to an affair that has happened. Like one character is talking about another character having multiple affairs and how she talks to like a friend about it or something like that. It's just really kind of confusing. It's kind of throwing a lot at you all at once, so I'm not too sure how all that would kind of come to be. I'm not sure, and it doesn't help that the print on this is kind of small, so I'm not sure how I'll think of it. I've only read maybe about like barely even 20 pages for the day, so I haven't quite hit that 100-page mark yet. But I'm hoping that it will get better, and I'll stop rambling at you guys and go eat my lunch because now it's ready. So I'll check in with you guys at a later time. Hey guys, I think it's been a couple of days since I last updated this vlog about my progress with V is for Vengeance. I am just about to get to the halfway point in the book, and the plot is starting to thicken a bit with it's more of a mystery thriller, a crime novel, and it's starting to pick up a bit. Even though my goal was to shoot for at least 50 pages a day, I am, where that sticky note is, I am obviously behind on that. Reading this weekend, I barely, maybe got like a couple of pages read here and there this past weekend, but other than that, I did not read all that much, which it's not bad. It's I kind of expected the weekend to be kind of slow when it came to reading wise. And this weekend's probably not going to be much better, honestly. So I'm just taking it easy. It's still not wowing me with the book. The main characters that were introduced, there's the main detective, and there are two separate points of views with it. I thought there was going to be more than that, but after a couple of the points of views had died, it left only 3 remaining, so we'll see how it goes. Usually 3 is probably a good safe number for me with when it comes to point of views in books. If it gets more than that, I start to kind of get a little crazy with all the information that's being thrown at me, so I don't tend to like super long point of views, because like with Game of Thrones, there's so many points of views there, it's hard to keep track of who's who sometimes, so I try to stick with a short number. But this one's going pretty well, so far so good. Good afternoon, guys. I wanted to do a quick update. I got past the halfway part in B is for Vengeance, and honestly the book is still being kind of slow for me to get through. I am not where I wanted to be. I wanted to at least be almost 75% away through this book by now, but it is what it is. It is very slow going. It's more getting the nitty-gritty details about the PI doing like a stakeout and things like that, going through that process of being the detective of the story, and I'm just about to get back to a different point of view. So it's slow going, but it's going. I'm still feeling kind of just okay about it. I'm not wowed by it, but I don't hate it. I'm just feeling kind of bored, honestly. So, which is probably not a good thing about the books. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but so far so good. couple of days since I last updated you all on my progress with V is for Vengeance, but I just finished reading it. I just gave it a 3 stars. I didn't find it all that exciting, so it may have something to do with it being so late in the series as well. So I didn't have all the backstory of the main character, but it kind of read where you didn't really need to read the previous books anyways, so it's kind of give or take depending on how you feel on it, but I just found it okay. I wasn't wowed, I wasn't disappointed, it just was kind of average. So I am going to try to figure out what I want to read next, and I'll update you guys whenever I decide. Hey guys, it's been a few days since I last updated you all, but I picked out my second book for this reading vlog. It's the Dante Club by Matthew Pearl, and I don't really know much about this, so I'll read the synopsis on the back. It says, Boston, 1865. A series of murders, all of them inspired by scenes in Dante's Inferno. Only an elite group of America's first Dante scholars, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Oliver Wendell Holmes, James Russell Lowell, and J.T. Fields can solve the mystery. With the police baffled, more lives endangered, and Dante's literary future at stake, the Dante Club must shed its sheltered literary existence and find the killer. So, another crime type thriller. Sounds pretty interesting. I tried to start it last night, but I am not feeling the greatest. I went to see an ENT doctor on Wednesday and diagnosed with an ear infection in my right ear. So I am not feeling the greatest, but I'm also dealing with a really bad sinus headache currently because there's a storm rolling in. So I didn't get a whole lot read last night because I went to bed early. Like, I maybe got a couple of pages. I'm like page 4 right now, so far I'm pretty interested in to see how it goes. It's just the only thing about this book, this paperback, the text is very tiny. So this was a book I had gotten, I think, a few years ago now, from when I lived in Tennessee, and my local library was having a fill a bag type of book sale, where a bag full of books you could like get for $1. So I think this is one of those instances, so we'll see how I enjoy that. Hey guys, it's been a while since I last did an update, so I just wanted to check in. I'm still having a hard time getting through the Dante Club. I am now kind of participating in Ashley's 24-hour readathon. I was on her sprints earlier. I've just taken a break for the time being while they watch a movie. But I read a bit of this during like my first sprint on with it and got to page 153. It's the second part 2, so it's starting to get a little bit easier to read it, but I'm still having a hard time keeping my focus. Hey guys, I just wanted to update you. I finally finished reading The Dante Club by Matthew Pearl. It took me a while to read it. Unfortunately, I think it was just maybe it being a historical thriller type of novel, but it is a I gave it like 3 stars, I believe, on Cowpile. I'll just read the back of it and we'll have to do a better job explaining this. It says, Boston, 1865, a series of murders, all of them inspired by scenes in Dante's Inferno. Only an elite group of Americans' first Dante scholars, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Oliver Wendell Holmes, James Russell Lowell, and J.T. Fields can solve the mystery. With the police baffled, more lives endangered, and Dante's literary future at stake, the Dante Club must shed its sheltered literary existence and find the killer. This was, the idea of it sounds like it would be really good. It's just something about the writing made it drag for me, and I don't know what else could have been. But now we're away from that, on to book number 2 for this reading vlog. It is going to be one of a Fear Street novel by R.L. Stine. It's going to be Night Games. I read this one years ago, so we'll see how it's held up and if I enjoyed it since. But it follows Diana, who loves sneaking out in the middle of the night. Her friends do too. They have the town all to themselves. Every night they come up with a new prank to play. But then Diana's boyfriend, Lenny, wants revenge on a teacher, and the pranks turn to murder. Now Diana and her friends are in too deep, much too deep, with no way out. So it looks like it's a relatively short novel. I'm pretty sure I read this quite a few times when I was a preteen, so we'll see how it holds up. Hey guys, I just wanted to update you all really quick. I had finished reading Night Games by R.L. Stine. This is I think Goodreads says it's the 40th book in the Fear Street series. I've had this book for years. I mentioned this probably like earlier in the video that it's a reread for me. I read it a couple of times when I was younger, so I still kind of remembered as I read it, I started to remember what was going on. I gave it 3 stars. It's definitely, some of it doesn't really hold up because if you are a follower of Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin, he read all 62 of the Goosebumps books, and his main complaint was the fat phobia in a lot of the Goosebumps books, and you get kind of that same vibe from Night Games as well. There is like a couple of throwaway comments about a character's weight, and I didn't really care for it, but this book was published in 96, so unfortunately it's kind of the norm for that time. But it did get a 3-star. I just thought it was average. Honestly, there wasn't too things to be really wowed about. A whole lot of feeling like the climax has happened. Sorry, I'm making my lunch right now, but there's a lead up to something spooky happening at the end of the chapter. And then the next chapter happens and it gets resolved to something kind of minor. It's like the main character gets spooked and thinks something worse is going to happen. And then the chapter ends, and then in the next chapter, it's like, oh, she was blowing it out of proportion, making a big deal out of nothing, that kind of thing. So it's like the bait and switch type of trope kind of going on, which it was kind of done well, honestly, because it made you want to keep reading and things like that. It's just kind of a little bit cheesy. But in the same vein, while I'm still kind of in the same mood, I'm gonna read Who Killed the Homecoming Queen, another Fear Street novel. I'm pretty sure these are probably more classified as horror, but to me it's more thriller than it is horror, because with them being a young adult novels, I don't find them super scary. So I get it more as a thriller. But I don't know what number this one is, honestly, and this is another one that I've had and reread multiple times. These books used to be my sister's as well, so with me being the younger sister, I get all the hand-me-downs, and this was one of them. So I think out of the 2 that the ones I have, I think this one was my favorite when I had read them a lot. I think only because I like the frilly dress on the front, and I, being the young girl that I was, wanted to be homecoming queen, even though my school didn't do that type of thing, at least not to the extent of this novel. But anyways, So I'll let you guys know what I think of that. It shouldn't take me very long because it literally took me about a day to read Night Games. So I expect this one to go the same way. Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick update. I finished Who Killed the Homecoming Queen by R.L. Stine. I gave it a 3 stars since it was a book that I had read quite a few years ago. I didn't think it really held up all that great, but it was a good kind of quick book to get through. So my next book and the last book that I plan on reading for this thriller vlog is going to be Death in a Distant Land by Nancy Livingston. I have no clue what this is about. This is a book I happened to pick up quite a few years ago from my local library's book sale. So I'll just read what's in the dust jacket. It says, a 6-week camping trip through Australia does not immediately impress Mr. Pringle as the ideal holiday, but when it involves the irrepressible Mavis Bignell, a missing boy, and 2 kilos of heroin, Nancy Livingston's mild-mannered hero finds himself in the center of another witty and offbeat adventure. Having reluctantly agreed to join Mavis in the search for her friend's missing grandson, Mr. Pringle sets off with her for the Antipodes to begin this hunt. En route, however, Mavis befriends a charming young airline steward with a winning smile who asks her to deliver a parcel of books and 2 packages of a special flower to his beloved aunt in Australia. Accepting the innocent-looking packages, Mavis unwittingly becomes the latest courier for a ruthless international drug syndicate and an unlikely link in their chain of heroin deals. Mr. Pringle, quick to identify the phony flower as heroin, dumps packages into Sydney Harbor, whereupon an inept Whitehall agent, 2 easy-going Australian cops, and a vicious hitman all hot on their trail enliven their trip through the Australian outback with a series of hilarious misadventures. Funny, sharply poignant, and at times tragic, Death in a Distant Land demonstrates why the New York Times Book Review has called Nancy Livingston an expert writer. So, obviously this is apparently supposed to be part of a series, but I haven't read any of the other ones, and I don't think I've read anything of Nancy Livingston, so we'll see how I enjoy this one. Hey guys, so I just wanted to talk about the last book that I have chosen for this vlog, which is A Death in a Distant Land by Nancy Livingston. So I am about like 20% of the way in through it right now. I'm going to like read one more section and really kind of figure out if I want to continue reading the book or not, because I am not really enjoying it that much right now. It's just kind of pretty like boring right now, honestly, and my brain's not attaching itself to it, so it's been kind of hard to read. Hey guys, so I made the executive decision to DNF Death in a Distant Land. I just cannot get my mind to focus on it. I don't know if it's just me in this kind of being in a weird slumpy kind of time because of everything that's going on right now, or if it's the book, but part of me kind of think it's the book, as there's at least 4 points of views, and usually when it comes to any book that has more than 2 point of views, I tend to like lose interest in it. And it is a pretty old book. This was a book that was published in the 80s, so a lot of the things are out of date, and you would think with this being as small as a book as it is, it would read quicker. but just with the jumping of different points of views and the language that's in it, it's just not grasping me, so it's definitely not my cup of tea. Yeah, I just can't get into it, so I'm just gonna call it a loss for this. But those are the 5 books that I chose for this reading vlog. We had kind of a mixed bag of like books in this. All of them were kind of just mediocre, honestly. So it goes to show that thriller is not really one of my favorite genres. I do enjoy them from time to time, but I don't love them. I know the Dante Club had taken me quite a while to read it as well. And then we had the other books that got around like 3 stars, I believe. So, but yeah, and then we had 1 DNF, which isn't all too bad. So I'll have to say a good variety in there. If you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to keep up to date of whenever I do more genre reading vlogs like this. Leave me a comment below with any recommendation of thrillers that I should check out in the future. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.